right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Fed up with the violence.
I just hope they'd be considerate to the people that is just trying to live.
Tonight, the community's cries for change as the city of St. Louis marks 51 homicides in less than 5 months.
Rivers running high and more rain in the forecast, where the focus for heavier rain and thunderstorms remains tonight.
Cherokee Street changes.
We've invested a lot in the safety and improvements this year.
The efforts to prevent a repeat of last year's chaos on Cinco de Mayo. We're following breaking news out of Columbia University in New York City. Within the last 2 hours, NYPD officers began arresting pro-Palestinian protesters who occupied a campus building.
With the front door blocked, officers had to enter through a second-story window. The police response came at the request of school administrators. Protesters violently overtook the building overnight after the university started suspending students who refused to abandon their encampments. We're told they now face trespassing and burglary charges. Tomorrow, pro-Palestinian demonstrators plan to protest on the campus of St. Louis University.
That gathering comes 4 days after police arrested 100 protesters at Washington University. St. Louis Board of Aldermen President Megan Green, an adjunct professor suspended by WashU, is criticizing the use of a police force. She's now calling on Mayor Tashara Jones to tell SLMPD to stand down tomorrow.
I think our expectation should be that tomorrow's protest at St. Louis University take the same form as Occupy SLU back in 2014, where there is not police presence and instead the university chooses to engage in productive dialogue with their students.
Governor Mike Parson is applauding the response of WashU and police.
But I think WashU did exactly what they needed to do. So my hat's off to them for taking care of the problem and making sure classes go on and people get educated. It's a great institution. Look, we're going to protect our universities in the state, period, against this kind of behavior. You know, it's not productive for anybody.
Mayor Jones's office tells 5 on Your Side her staff remains, quote, firmly supportive of the right to peaceful protest. St. Louis Police Chief Tracy told us, quote, the department is determined to protect the safety and security of all individuals expressing their First Amendment right to assemble and engage in nonviolent protest.
The tension on campus has led Washington University to make changes to this year's commencement. Tickets are now required for the ceremonies on May 13th. Only clear bags will be allowed. The university is also banning items like noisemakers, large signs, balloons, food and drink, and weapons. A warm and humid evening across the St. Louis region. A rumble of thunder could wake you up early tomorrow. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is tracking overnight isolated storms in his Weather First forecast.
You know, and we think most of that action is going to remain either well to the north or well to the southwest of St. Louis. We're pretty quiet around the metro area this evening, and that's a good thing. We're expecting it to stay quiet for at least the next 2 to 3 hours. Where is the action? It's all been along the Missouri-Iowa border up into Iowa and then back towards Kansas City and then stretching down the western side of Missouri and into southeastern Kansas. But you notice this activity as it's pushing closer towards St. Louis. It's losing a lot of its spunk this evening. We think that's going to be the trend. The severe weather threat remains well to our north and west. Here's what the futurecast looks like. As this approaches us through the overnight hours, it tends to fall apart. So while there might be a stray rumble of thunder to the north of St. Louis or farther to the southwest down towards Rolla, most of us likely will have a very quiet night with just a few clouds rolling in. Now, it's not going to stay that way for the rest of the week, that's for sure. While there's an isolated rain chance after midnight, a spot shower is possible late tomorrow because the boundary is still hanging around. And then we'll get our widespread showers back in here Thursday night. We'll track that in just a few minutes.
And you can get the latest Weather First forecast anytime on KSDK.com and the 5 on Your Side app. You can also text the word weather to 314-425-5355 and we'll send it straight to your phone.
It's a sobering statistic for the city of St. Louis. Homicide rates are slightly up compared to a year ago. And new tonight, 5 on Your Side's Robert Townsend is live downtown with reaction to a disturbing trend that many just want to end. Robert.
Mike, from citizens to neighborhood watch presidents to longtime community activists, they're all tired of shootings, deadly shootings happening in St. Louis. Listen to this. The latest one happened just blocks away from City Hall and our station. It was a sunny and seemingly peaceful Tuesday afternoon in downtown St. Louis, but around 10:30 Monday night, a startled Ariana Qualls saw police officers descend on her neighborhood.
The gunshots were so loud, like it woke me up out of my sleep.
In the heart of downtown near 15th and Olive Street, police say someone shot a man in his 20s. He died at a hospital. Qualls lives here with her 2 children.
He was just laying in the grass. It's very concerning, because I be wanting to take my kids out like around the area and things like that, and sometimes I be skeptical about even just being out on the front.
The man was the 51st homicide victim in St. Louis so far this year. That number is slightly up compared to 48 last year this time.
Something have to be done.
Sharon Webb Steele, the president of Mothers Advocating Safe Streets, is fed up with the ongoing gun violence that's plaguing the city. Violence records show involves adults and teens.
Some of these juveniles need to be charged as adults. Simple as that. And if they're not charged, their parents need to be charged.
A spokesperson for Mayor Tashara Jones says the city is taking steps to reduce crime and violence. The city says juvenile shootings are down 47% and youth victims of gun violence are down 50% from last year.
We need to get tougher on these criminals, and we need to come up with stricter gun laws.
I hope it'll stop. I just hope they'll be considerate to the people that is just trying to live.
And right now, police have not made any arrests in connection with last night's shooting. They are asking anyone with any information to call St. Louis Police. Remember, you can remain anonymous and possibly even receive a reward if you call Crime Stoppers. We're live downtown. I'm Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
We're only 4 days away from St. Louis's big Cinco de Mayo festival on Cherokee Street. The annual event bringing tens of thousands to South City.
And new this year, big changes designed to keep you safe. Brent Solomon is live at police headquarters, where officers are gearing up to have a bigger presence this year. Brent?
Yeah, I got some new information for you tonight. You might remember it was last year. 2 separate shootings surrounding Cinco de Mayo. Now, police here are partnering with event organizers to make sure it's safe. And a bigger police presence isn't the only thing you'll see.
It's one of the staples that shapes St. Louis.
We usually get on average around 30 to 40,000 people here on one day. Kind of almost the capacity of Busch Stadium comes to Cherokee Street for Cinco de Mayo. So.
A celebration of Mexican culture, bringing out people of all backgrounds for a family-friendly party here on Cherokee Street.
We also fill the street with arts and music and cultures.
It gives local businesses a boost.
We do a lot of liquor, food. I mean, it's all about liquor and food, for real.
At Sueno Latino Restaurant, Eduardo Nunez is preparing for the crowds, despite one memory that lingers.
I hope this year's kind of different,
That's when an evening shooting put a damper on the otherwise safe celebration. A big fight broke out at Cherokee in Ohio when someone started waving a gun. 2 people were hurt. The night before the festival, a shooting on Cherokee killed 2 people and injured 2 others.
So we've changed up a little bit of the footprint.
Organizers tell me new this year, a hard perimeter will go up surrounding the festival zone. You can only get in at one of 4 entrances.
So coming from the west here at Nebraska, at Jefferson, or the north and south on Iowa. Those are the entrances that'll be accepting attendees, and the rest will be closed to pedestrian traffic.
On top of that, all bags will be searched.
But we're upping our enforcement. So leave your weapons, your speakers, your liquor and your booze at home and come and join us on this fun day.
And that business owner who you just heard from tells me that him and several other business owners met recently about the changes they want to see at this year's festival. They're glad to see there's a plan in place. All of the festivities kick off Saturday at 11 a.m. It goes until 8 that night. Live in downtown St. Louis, Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
The defense has rested its case in the Thomas Kenworthy murder trial. The man accused of murdering St. Louis police officer Tamaris Bohannon in 2020 waived his right to testify. He's pleaded not guilty by reason of mental health defect. Today, his ex-wife took the stand and testified about his abusive and criminal past and said he needs mental health help. The trial is expected to wrap up later this week.
Tonight, growing concerns in the Tower Grove South neighborhood following a recent vacant house fire. Neighbors say dozens of squatters have been in and out of the home in the last 2 years. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski talked with city officials about this growing vacant home problem. Laura.
And Mike, that problem is growing tonight. St. Louis firefighters are on the scene right now of 2 more vacant house fires in South City. We have a crew on the way to the same Tower Grove South neighborhood. Another fire is burning in Carondelet. Neighbors say these homes are ticking time bombs and something has to change. Erin Leiden-Lorson and her family moved to the shortest street in St. Louis, McKean Avenue, in 2019, and they love their block. But they, like many other St. Louisans, are dealing with a vacant home they practically share a wall with.
We believe all people should have a home. However, when it's unregulated and unmaintained, that's when the problems arise.
She says over the past year, they've seen roughly 30 different people coming in and out of the house, and their worst fear came true on Sunday night, just as they were coming home from the park.
We saw smoke billowing out of the house next door, just the back window. We saw a man come out and say, "My apartment's on fire," and just head on down towards Gravaway. So I asked him if he was going to call 911. He said no, so we called the fire department. Fire department's amazing. They were here within 2 minutes.
St. Louis Fire Captain Garen Mosby says the problems with vacant homes in the city are never going to stop, but they've been working to catalog them so they have some idea of what they're getting into.
You'll often hear this building has a low, a medium, or high probability of collapse. It's the high probability of collapse that really clues you in, because you know that that survey was conducted under ideal situations. Building wasn't on fire, and it was a no-go then.
It's now even more of a safety hazard.
When these buildings are not properly maintained or kept, you have the elements. It wears away at the structural stability.
Charred walls, just everything was gone. The ceiling's caving in. Everything is just, it's just awful.
Alderwoman Alicia Saunier says she's committed to addressing the problem, but it's going to take time.
The neighborhood improvement specialist is going to go out tomorrow morning and take a close look at the property and kind of talk about some ways that we can secure it. I went by today to take a look and have talked about some of the ways to secure it, and then we're going to tag the building division in.
Alderwoman Saunier says, unfortunately, the company that owns the home is out of state, which adds another layer of complications. She says she hopes to expedite the process of securing and boarding up the home.
Local condo owners waiting on roof repairs.
It just upsets me knowing that I thought I was covered.
Now they're expected to pay thousands on top of their monthly HOA fees.
Where's the money going?
Well, most of it goes to insurance premiums.
Tonight, the I-Team looks into the dispute and uncovers a trend of financial struggles for homeowner associations.
A new month, same old unsettled weather pattern. At least the severe threats look minimal the next few days. We are timing out your rain chances as we head toward that weekend.
Breaking news, within the last 15 minutes, we learned abortion advocates with Access Missouri cleared the high bar to gather more than 170,000 signatures to put an abortion question on the November ballot. That is according to emails obtained by 5 on Your Side. The proposal would legalize abortion access in Missouri and enshrine its protection into the state constitution. The petition signatures could still face a challenge at the Secretary of State's office. Well, tonight, the I-Team looks into homeowners and condominium association fees. Residents can pay hundreds of dollars a month.
And they often dispute how that money is spent. Senior investigative reporter Paula Vacant uncovers a troubling pattern of these associations struggling to manage obligations.
The Maria Estates Condominiums in O'Fallon, Missouri was once a haven for people like Nicolette Flynn.
It's always been like that.
It's where she started a family.
It's very quiet and just peaceful.
But now discontent brews among residents who feel betrayed by their condominium association, while they pay about $150 every month to keep it running.
Where's the money going? That's what I want to know. I mean, they send us the yearly budget, but they don't tell us then at the end of the year what they spent it on.
Many residents often pay monthly into condominium or homeowners associations. Money goes towards shared resources like building maintenance and utilities like trash removal. About 1 in 6 people in Missouri are part of one.
These are the rotten stairs that we have told them that needed to be replaced.
But she points to a litany of grievances, from neglected building and lawn care to unsalted icy pathways.
I slipped and fell in the parking lot because they didn't properly salt.
The latest headache, roofs that need repair after severe storm damage, with hail the size of golf balls. Flynn thought it was the association's responsibility to make the fixes. Later, she learned she'd have to work with her insurance, paying around $4,000 out of pocket.
It just upsets me knowing that I thought I was covered.
So we went straight to the Condominium Association's president, Scott Cordum.
Where's the money going?
Well, most of it goes to insurance premiums.
Insurance experts tell the I-Team premiums have doubled and even quadrupled in our area over the last year. It's left many struggling to keep up with maintenance and repairs.
In order to get an insurance policy we can afford without jacking everybody's monthly dues up, we had to get a large deductible.
Complaints here also focus on lack of transparency and oversight. Cordum argues he's been trying to keep people informed.
Most of the time, if people ask a question, we'll answer it. With nobody asking questions until now, I don't see any reason to bend over backwards.
We got hold of the association's financial records. It shows a condominium association operating on what industry experts call a shoestring budget to keep costs low for residents. The downside, financial surprises down the road.
Are these issues aggravating enough to make you want to leave?
I've thought about it, but you have so much invested. Like, you can't just get up and just leave.
It all comes as community associations deal with higher costs, like spiking insurance premiums, while residents demand, at the very least, transparency. For the I-Team, Paula Vasan, 5 on your side.
And if you have a tip for Paula, she wants to hear from you. Leave a voice message at 314-444-5231, or you can email her directly at pvasan@ksdk.com. All calls and correspondence will be kept confidential.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joins us with the Weather First forecast, and we could have a little noisy action tonight.
Oh yeah, there could be a thunderstorm here or there, but it's mostly more likely up closer to the Iowa border or down towards the Oklahoma and Kansas border, southwest of us. We're kind of splitting the difference at this point. It's still relatively mild outside. Temperatures in the 70s. Humidity levels, yeah, you can feel it a little bit, but it's not sultry. And the action we've been watching here, coming along Highway 70, as it's nearing Columbia, it's tending to fizzle. Some of those storms up towards Kirksville still holding together with a little bit of a punch, but they're starting to die off too. So the overall impact tonight, maybe there's a spot shower or rumble of thunder, especially to our north or farther to our southwest. But pick out your town, pick out your temperature. Pretty much all of us are in that 59 to 62, 63 degree range. And the rain we've seen today to the north and west of us, really not widespread enough to have any big impacts on the already high river levels. The Mississippi cresting before the weekend is done. One thing though with this, the fact that, it's been since 2019 we've had the water this high in St. Louis on the Mississippi. In some cases, it's been a little more recent than that on most of our major rivers. But now we're picking up logs and all the junk that was left from previous floods on the side of the river, and that's coming downstream. So that's in the water. If you're thinking about a boating weekend, and we know your thoughts are trending in that direction with the warmer weather and the fact that we start May tomorrow, just keep that in mind. 75 degrees right now, 83 was our top temperature. Hey, the geese here, they have a little story. Look at the baby goslings. Kathy shared this picture with us on the 5 on Your Side Weather Watchers Facebook group. If you're one of the 18,000 members on the group, you may have followed the story. The mother goose has been sitting on those eggs through hail, through heavy rain, through all of the crazy weather we've had so far in April, and she has 5 little goslings. Well, tomorrow they may see an isolated shower. Better chances later Thursday and into Friday. Let's time that out. Thursday, most of the afternoon, we're on the dry side, but clouds are getting thicker. The better rain chances are rolling in here Thursday night and heading into the overnight hours for Thursday, wee hours Friday morning. Odds are we don't see severe weather with this. The timing isn't favorable. The energy's not there. So it just doesn't look like there's a really good chance of other than your generic rumbles of thunder for Thursday night into Friday. Thursday is a really warm day, though, well into the 80s despite the cloud cover with the lack of sunshine. And then we're in the 70s here Friday and Saturday. Weekend rain chances, sure, there's a chance, but there's also plenty of dry time this weekend. And again, without any focus or any big energy source coming in from the west, we just don't see the weekend rain chances, A, being all that widespread or lasting all that long, or being all that intense.
So that's good.
Yeah, so
that's
you can
good
still,
news.
don't cancel plans. Just kind of keep a weather eye, and we'll keep you updated.
Won't be a washout. All right, Scott, thanks. Sports is next with Frank.
Mike, the Cardinals had a 500 day. City SC got a star player back, and Otis Anderson is getting a lot of support to make it to the Hall of Fame.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
You know, when you play baseball for about 6 hours in 2 games, you would like to come away with a positive outcome. But if you split, it's like the day was wasted. For a sportscaster, it's like if you work 10 hours and then weather blows you out of the newscast, you kind of feel like your day is wasted. No offense, Scott, love you. Steven Matz continues to struggle. Winsell Perez homers in the 2nd inning. 3-0 Tigers. Matz gave up 4 in 3 1/3. His ERA is in the 6s. But the Cardinals came roaring back. Brendan Donovan with a 2-run blast in the 5th to make it a 4-2 game. Same inning, Alec Burleson with a 3-run blast, which scored Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, who had a 5-hit day. Cardinals up 5-4. But the bullpen, which had been really good, was not tonight. The Tigers win the nightcap, the final, 11-6. Jack Flaherty was a handful for his former teammates in the opener. 14 strikeouts in 6 2/3. He left up a run. Kyle Gibson hung in against Flaherty. He went 7 and struck out 9, and then the Cardinals rallied. That's Pedro Palace with the deep fly. Paul Goldschmidt with the go-ahead run, and Ryan Helsley finished things off. Cardinals are 14-2 in games he's appeared in. How about that stat? Cardinals win it 2-1. Big-time high school baseball matchup today. Tony Perkins and Francis Howe against Fort Zumwalt West. Here's the only blemish from Howe starter Alex Bryant. Carter Perry's single tied things at 1. Mizzou commit Titus Sissel can really hit for Howe. He gets the go-ahead RBI for the Vikings. Francis Howe wins it 2-1.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
City SC had the week off. They face Houston this weekend. A little mystery surrounding the club. One of City's biggest scoring threats is back with the team. Striker Sam Adeniran had been training away from the club and didn't play in the last 2 games for City SC due to a coaching staff decision. Neither side is saying why, but Sam feels accepted.
They never didn't accept me. They always accepted me, you know. So, I mean, I don't really think there was really any much of a reintegration, you know. I mean, I've been here for past 2 seasons. We've done my job, I'd say, pretty good. So, you know, and I think others would say that as well. So, you know.
Do you feel like you have anything to prove coming back since stepping away?
No, not really. My resume speaks for itself, so.
If you've been watching our news, you've seen the rallies and the protests. Tonight, a different one, a peaceful one. When Cardinal running back Otis Anderson, retired, he was 8th in the history of the NFL in rushing. The first 7 are in the Hall of Fame. So that leads us to tonight at Circle 7 Restaurant in De Pere. The OJ Hall of Fame train held their own rally to get the man into Canton. And the great Jackie Smith was on hand tonight. So too was former Big Red star Johnny Rowland. Number 32 is the only player in football history to win 2 Super Bowl rings, the Rookie of the Year award, the Comeback Player of the Year, and Super Bowl MVP. This group is really working hard to get him in.
Everybody we've spoken to, Dan Deerdorf signed on yesterday. We're working with Jim Kelly, Ed Too Tall Jones. I get calls from Lawrence Taylor, Harry Carson. We're going to a golf outing and up on the East Coast in July. This thing is real.
He was so shifted, and he had enough weight into it that he could he could run through someone, but he could also run around someone.
When you were coaching against him and you'd watch him on tape, what did you see?
The kind of back that I would like to coach. Big, strong, fast, physical.
And this committee's really sharp. They're getting to the 12 voters of the Veterans Committee with this big package of all of his great stats. It's a justice that needs to be served. This guy is a special running back. He's a Hall of Famer.
Seems like a no-brainer.
Yep.
We'll be right back.
Breaking news, this is a live picture. St. Louis fire crews are on the scene of another vacant house fire in Tower Grove South. Neighbors tell us this is the third fire at this home on Fairview in the past 2 months.
And it's the second fire in this neighborhood in 3 days. As we told you earlier, crews also battled a vacant house fire in the Carondelet neighborhood tonight. St. Louis Fire Department is cataloging all vacant properties in the city so crews know the dangers before entering. And Scott has one final look at the weather.
You know, slim chances we'll see any rain overnight tonight, very early tomorrow. Maybe a spot shower later tomorrow afternoon, but overall, we're waiting until Thursday night into Friday morning for the next round of more significant rain, maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch for most of us out of that batch.
And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Be sure to start your day with the Today in St. Louis crew. That starts at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.